the fourth or whatever. There's a lot of other videos. Check it out.
Dig up.
If you haven't done the form in the advanced course, two best things I've ever done. Call your local center, have an idea of what you're up to for your next 6 months of your life, and tell them that, and they'll get back to you. And you know, tell them that on the voicemail, but yeah, it's 2 5-day courses, 915, $200 down deposit, best things I've ever done. And yeah.
Whole thing with showers. He needed certain length of showers. And we literally, my husband ended up working with this hotel, this Ritz-Carlton. Why I hosted a 5-star property, we had nothing to.
Yeah, so Warner's specific about having a great showering experience. He's setting it up so that he likes it. And he isn't involved at all anymore. That's
Yeah, it's me.
his own shower.
With people being able to deal with high demand people. They have a very high integrity kind of service. So that's why I hosted at Ritz. And but this particular one, so he's not getting the length of shower he needs. We have him in a little.
Yeah, why would you want to host it at a crummy hotel when you're inviting people that are leaders in their
On
environment?
the low. By this time, I know I have to keep them sort of separated so people can't hear because we hear all this crashing and banging and screaming and yelling and speak. So I had to keep them sort of separated. And and then my husband gets together with the.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like that's agreed upon in the organization. Someone wants to be held to a high level of accountability and integrity. I mean, I guess that's going to cause some screaming and yelling if someone doesn't want to be held accountable. And in the normal workaday world, it's, I mean, look, everybody's trying to hold a lot of people accountable right now. Don't you want that to be an easier situation? And this is, oh, I didn't Google your T in your name. I hope I did it right. Ann L. Peterson with a T.
The manager of Smith Carlton, and they decide to dig up the cooler in Dubai. This was in, sorry, it was in Abu Dhabi. And there they have water heaters, they have water coolers because you can cool the water down. It's hot there. So they dig up the water cooler tank from beside his bungalow, put in one with a larger capacity so that he can take longer showers. And,
Yeah, I mean, he asked and they delivered. No big deal.
and it was still pretty good.
You could ask for that as well. You know,
Because we're like heroes. It's a problem. We figured it out. And that's kind of a game. You get into the game.
it's not a problem.
Like, wasn't even paying attention to whether
It's not like he's doing this on a daily basis and charging you guys money for it.
what he wanted or needed was kind of seemed a little outlandish or seemed a little over the top, especially given it was this charitable
Seemed a little outlandish, seemed a little over the top. Did you say anything?
thing we were raising money for and da 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 da. But no, Warner needs what he needs. He's older. He's the guru. He's the source.
Yeah, I wanted my father-in-law to have what he needed as he was older.
So get him what he needs because then you'll get
He earned it all. It was his money. I begged him to spend his own money.
the performance. But now that's seated, it's embedded in his whole organization. So my son visited the Seattle office.
It's not embedded in the organization.
So that one thing that stood out was the big Warner quote on the wall. So they brought him back in, but you don't need him anymore. People adhere
Okay, yeah, so what?
to the ideology. They adhere to the work.
Nobody's adhering to it. It works for them. They try it on like a pair of pants and it works for them, and they are now more free and happy and all the free and all that. And why would you not do that?
adhere to the changing the world.
Yeah, well, again, people don't change, so I don't know if the world changes, but yeah, the whole idea would be world peace or something like that. And I mean, not here, world peace at Landmark. I'm just saying, in general, a lot of people that did the Landmark Forum see the opportunity for world peace as a possibility within their lifetime. Um, and yeah, I'm making a difference in my wife's life at work right now. You know what I mean? Even though I'm not with her and she's not like currently taking a course or anything like that.
They don't need to know about the person to be addicted, to be
I mean, it works and I have it for the rest of my life. I wouldn't call that an addiction.
used. And which is
No, there's no being
why I think, as this information about him comes out, a lot of
there's no being used unless you want to be used and you allow yourself to be used. I would, furiously take notes, and now I have those notes for the rest of my life. And I didn't take notes in the forum, but every course after that.
people say, "Oh, works good." Okay, I got it. So he's abusive. Wow.
No, but it's ruthless compassion, and they are not left demeaned, and in terms of results, they are left enhanced. So it's only beneficial. They didn't have the experience of being demeaned, and now they're free from that thing that they were challenged by. Yeah, it's very and it's not abuse in any sense of the realm, and they have psychologists on staff that ensure that it is not that. And you don't have a 94% 93% satisfaction rating and 7% of people that didn't say they weren't satisfied. They just said that they weren't satisfied. That's not saying I'm unsatisfied by being part of that 7% at all.
fortunate that people can't connect the dots on those things because they don't understand that because they have a good experience that there aren't, all
Because there's no dots to be connected at Landmark, at least. You're speaking from the realm and lens of Scientology.
into landmines landed in there to screw them over when they try to carry this off to the next level or whatever. It's why we need.
I don't know what you mean. Carry what off to what level?
Desperately need not only critical thinking education, which is really something that is being worked on in a lot of places.
Yes, if you would just do the forum, you would see that this is free thinking. People keep using the word critical. I've never heard anyone say the word critical there, but it is free thinking. Yes, and that is what you're saying that you want. You want critical thinking, then do the forum because this is it, and this is it for the world in every language and already interpreted in every language, and they have interpreters who are willing to interpret in every language. And
it's not about critical thinking. It's about emotional intelligence. It's about understanding what your needs are.
Yes, so do the forum.
And drive your behavior, because if you don't get that,
it's not about driving your behavior to do a certain thing. It's about, hey, I got all these things from this 5-day course, which you are saying that you want for your life. So why don't you, inviting you to listen to me and consider that maybe you don't know something that you don't know about the forum, and maybe you would get all these things that you're telling me that you want, which is like media literacy or critical thinking or emotional intelligence. That's all literally in the 5 days. So I don't know anybody else that's doing it in 5 days for less money. So if you find a way that people are doing it for less money in fewer time, then please tell me. Because it doesn't exist.
And then so many nonsensical explanations can be given to you, like you have a reactive mind, and that's the problem.
No, there's no nonsensical things, and we wouldn't call you. You have a reactive mind. You're human, and you're going through what you're going through, and knock wood that you can put that in the past and be free to do what it is that you want to do.
Right? No, you don't. You don't have anything like that. But it sounds good, and it sounds like an explanation that makes logic.
No, there's none of that. There's no one talking out of both sides of their mouth. They're talking out of their butthole. There's none of that ever.
Sense. Therefore, it works. Therefore, I'm good. Therefore, what's the problem? The problem is it's a control mechanism designed to limit your thinking.
No, it's not a control mechanism designed to limit your thinking. It is limitless thinking. It is free thinking.
You won't look for the real answer. That's the problem. And then you're going to run into all kinds.
Yeah, no, I had more questions after I left the forum, just in my life in general, and I went out and found those answers to those questions and felt way more free to find out the answer to those questions. At least when I compare myself to my friends and I say, hey, I did this thing, it turned out really well. And I'm not even talking about the forum. I'm talking about investing in real estate. I'm talking about sales training. I'm talking about health training and being healthier. I'm talking about all of that stuff. And I'm like, yo, this stuff works. And people are like, yeah, I'm still unhealthy and not really happy and etc. And it's like, what are you doing?
Kinds of problems in your life, with your family, with your friends, with your work associates, trying to use this stuff that really doesn't make sense, but it's kind of, but I thought it.
Yeah, it's nothing that I'm using. I mean, if you want to call acknowledging and listening to people something that I'm a tool that I'm using to manipulate you.
No, it doesn't. That's yeah, exactly. Right. So other people.
Yeah, so I stated in other videos that I have made $1 million. I've saved $1 million after doing a forum. Nobody says it like caused that, but you know what I mean? That stuff happened. Found a woman of my dreams, married 12 years. Yeah, really good relationship with my parents and my parents-in-law.
So Jared, and a few, things happened. I love Brian. Brian Morgan's telling his story very publicly, so I name him. But he, he's talking about, he was a young gay man and he came out to his family, didn't go well. There was a big rift, and then he goes in and does the forum, and he gets this thing. One of the main things they talk about in the forum, you can read it on their syllabus on their website. So Harry, if you're listening, you think I'm stealing it, it's on your website. So the whole, they have this whole unclassing the vicious circle. Something happens, you make it mean something. It comes from a Nietzsche idea from hundreds ago. But whatever happens, we have an immediate assessment or interpretation of that. Okay, so, all right, great. So Brian's in this program and he sees, oh, I get an interpretation of the way my dad responded, and I decided that he was rejecting me, and that I, whatever he decided. So he goes to his family and he says, hey, I'm doing this course and I saw this thing. Is that really what you? That really meant? They're like, no, of course not. We love you. Blah, blah, blah. And in his experience, his family comes back because he gets his family back. Right. He had that same thing in therapy. Yep. He could have read some Nietzsche.
Oh my God, with this thing. I love you, Anne. He could have had the same thing in therapy. Then great. Why are there how many millions of people that do therapy and still don't have a good relationship with their parents? And like, I didn't have a bad relationship with my mom. I just like, whenever she called, I felt like she was nagging, and that wasn't true. It was all made up in my head. You know what I mean? So it's like, you want to keep doing the ineffective thing? Do you work for the therapy industry? Is this some sort of like coordinated attack against Landmark? Or what is all nonsense? And Landmark's not therapy or psychology or anything.
Right. I've had experience in Gallwey, there's so many places, right? Right.
And it's not religion at all. So look, if something worked for the total to everybody in the planet, then I would say go do that. But I don't see anything else that works for everybody. I see religion working for people that are religious, that in their religion, I see a lot of things working for individual groups of people, but I don't see anything else that works for everyone. And if you want to tell me something that works for everybody, I'd be happy to look at it, but I don't see it. It doesn't exist. And if you want to force me to be a certain religion, then what are we even doing?
Yeah, so then it becomes completely labor saving life. So he becomes a devotee. He just
You want to force me to go to therapy? What are we doing?
and so, for the next 26 years, he's a landmark. He calls himself a super fan. And so now, he left the spaceship and he's trying to figure out
Calls himself
and I don't
a super fan. I mean, I don't, see anything wrong with that as long as you know that you have free thought and you can stop doing what you're doing at any point and recreate yourself. And
my nervous system is like crazed, and
is your nervous system crazed? No, I mean, I get it. It's a real feeling. It's a real nervous system craze that you're going through. I get that. It's just not real. And that's what we got out of the advanced course, which is literally the second course, which is only 10 days of my entire life. And
first of all, I don't have an opportunity to make a difference. I'm not changing lives.
you don't have an opportunity to make a difference. You're not changing lives. I mean, I get how you could see that because you were literally making people millions of dollars and fall in love and have the relationship of their dreams and all those things. And now you're not doing that for your choice. You could still be doing that if you wanted, right? If people in your life are like, hey, I want this, and you're like, oh, this is how I got it, or how a lot of people get it. So why don't you try this? Could absolutely make a difference right now. And you have all of the skill sets to make the difference on the planet.
Anymore, on a daily basis by, calling registered people in programs or whatever. So it's just a whole system that sets you up. I'm curious.
No, it's not a system to set you up.
In Scientology, what did they do with emotions? So in Landmark, your whole emotional thing, you bracket that. So your emotions, or if they refer to it as what's going on with you internally, is what there is to be set aside.
And I'm not sure if you're referencing some stuff from the 70s or 80s or 90s. Never heard anybody talk about emotions as in what's going on with you internally. I mean, if someone's crying, I guess I could see somebody asking, "Hey, what's going on with you that you got emotional? That what's going on with you internally?" I guess I could see somebody using that. I never heard it, but it's yeah, what we were just saying. Emotions are real emotions. They're just not real.
It's not like sociopathy training or what? Yes.
Sociopathy training, having everybody be free thinkers and having them have autonomy and authority over themselves.
Which I now sort of have some suspicions about Werner may have that neurotype. But the ideal is to.
Who cares if he did? He has no ego and he's all about committing to other people. So look, people calling someone that's for standing for other people to get what they want is not a narcissist. That is literally the opposite of a narcissist. That's them standing for you to get what you said you wanted out of life. The narcissist is like me, give me what I want out of life.
To not be impacted by what's going on with you internally, aka your emotions or feelings, like that, and to be able to use your rational reason mind, right? Your conscious mind, that 2% that's functioning there. And
I've never heard any of this stuff that she's talking about in any realm in my decades of work with the organization at the enterprise.
Oh, and essentially reason your way out of it. Right now, and their prescription is to invent.
No, there's no reasoning your way out of it in some way. You are self-empowered, so you get that being unreasonable is empowering and having reasons is disempowering. But there's no like control or manipulation or force, or that's like opposite of what the forum goes over.
This is what I think is funny because being is very much a presence for emotional thing. They don't make that connection. So what you do then is invent yourself as some other being.
They don't make that connection of being? Of course they do.
And then you take that on. So you set aside whatever's going on with you internally. You've created yourself, or you've another big one on a war against context is decisive.
These are all things that work like crazy good.
They only think about half the context, which is how you're seeing something. And context is where the external circumstances and how you're experiencing yourself and come together where they meet. That's create the context, right? For how you're seeing things.
Well, yeah, I mean, it creates a collapse of a context. But
the landmark context is all what you're making it be. So that's the high magic, is you get to set aside all that emotional.
I love this guy shaking his head like he knows what she's talking about. If you haven't done the forum, a lot of this you will not understand.
Create your own being, also known as meaning or context, and then see it all to that.
Yeah, I would say there are some definite similarities and parallels in how Scientology trains people to deal with emotionally charged.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you always have to step up on a level before they give you, I don't know,
or traumatizing or difficult emotion situations, or how to think about your emotions at all.
Yeah, it wouldn't be how to think about them. It'd be getting whatever you left, whatever was left unsaid with you and some other person, complete, over and done with, so that you can go on and live your life. I mean, that's not thinking about the emotion. That is dealing with it and moving on.
I've done a long breakdown on this. The summary version is that Herd charted emotions on a scale. He assigned numbers to them. He calls it the tone scale. And emotions are an out.
See her surprised face? It's like completely different than Landmark is. So you want to compare the two? You're gonna spend like 2 hours questioning whether Landmark's a cult or not. And she's like so surprised to hear this thing about Scientology. It's not Scientology. It's not Scientology light. It's nothing close. Scientology is what Scientology is. Landmark is not Scientology.
Relates to musical tones or vibrations of your spirit. Your spirit is the thing that is experiencing the emotions, not your body or anything else. And that the negative emotions on the scale, because they are not only numbered, but they go into the negatives. And there's a scale for you as a spiritual entity, and there's a scale for you with body plus spirit, right? Body plus Satan. And so your spirit can
In the quantum physics.
Yeah, this is out there stuff. Yeah, this is
Yeah, she's saying that's quantum physics. That's not. It's nothing to do with Landmark.
out there stuff.
Epidemics.
Um,
Struggling with medical mystery.
Yeah, and like most people wouldn't say my life is perfect. They'd probably be like, at least one of my friends is like, "Oh, well, you don't have this." I'm like, bro.
I have people talking about this stuff in slightly different languages, but I'm just kind of like, holy moly.
Oh, yeah. No, there's a whole book on it called Science of Survival from 1952 or 1951. It was the second book he wrote after Dianetics. And he not only charted out these emotions and put them on a scale and decided.
This just whole aura is just like, oh yeah, it's so terrible. People are so victimized and controlled and exploited. And like you want to post Landmark up here and down here, like maybe, and you're being manipulated. I don't know. But
To give value judgment
this isn't the forum, what he's talking about at all.
to them. There are emotions called below 2.0 on the scale. The scale goes 40 to minus 40. And so at the very, very, very top is the spiritual, existence of serenity of beingness. And at the bottom of the scale is a spiritual state of total failure. And these emotions are supposed to represent your sort of vibrational state, you could say, of the Phaeton. But more to the point, they are viewed as what's called restimulation. They're an effect of past stresses and traumas in your life. They're coming back in the here and now to plague you and drive your behavior. You act the way you do now because of the trauma you have and the commands that trauma literally sort of imposes upon your thinking.
That piece is completely supplanted, slightly different language, simplified a bit, but completely supplanted in Landmark. Completing the past. That's what you're doing in the forum, is you're completing the past.
There you go. There you go. And so this.
So that's bad now, getting over things and not carrying them around for the rest of your life, making them mean other things that they don't mean. It's not a bad thing to.
These factors of trauma are what the auditing in Scientology is all about. The therapeutic component of Scientology is dealing with these past stresses and traumas. These factors of trauma are what the auditing in Scientology is all about. The therapeutic component of Scientology is dealing with these past stresses and traumas through a kind of regression therapy or reliving it. And there's other forms of auditing. There's lots and lots and lots of different forms. So they're going to decades to develop this stuff, and there are thousands of processes and procedures to use. But the theory is that you, as a spiritual entity, are going through life running this body that you have, and you're going to have body after body after body. This is not who you really are.
Okay.
And your spiritual essence, or the Phaeton that is you, is the thing that goes on from life to life to life. And the thoughts you're thinking and the feelings you're having, that's you as a spiritual entity being impacted by your mind, which has all these pictures from your past that affect you. And most of the stuff that's really heavy.
It's like everything this guy's talking about for the last 10 minutes has been like completely not what Landmark is. And she shows that in her face. And they show compare and despair and how that doesn't actually ever get anything done. So if I'm comparing this to something else, then it's then I might be missing something. And yeah, it's just so wild how she's not stopping him
It really hit me
saying, no, that's not what Landmark is at all.
by the head. Come from your past life, not what's happened to you in the here and now. So that's the foundation on which Scientology is built. So if you buy into the spiritual component,
So all this talk about, oh, the Landmark Scientology light, it's like she has no idea what he's talking about right now. He's going like off the
and
rails.
buy into the idea that you are not your body, immediately you can negate all of biology, all of neuroscience, all of
Not to negate any of this stuff. I can see how this stuff would be impactful for people. It's just not Landmark.
all of psychiatry. None of them know what they're talking about because none of them acknowledge the spirit. And it's the spirit that's really the source of all of this. And so what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a lot in that if you are open enough to hear about for example, new nutrition info that just dropped in 2019. Like if you're not willing to see maybe there's different doctors that say something different, and maybe I at least want to listen to them and hear what they have to say. Right? People are like, "Oh, that doctor's a fringe doctor," or "You think your doctor's right?" I'm like, "No, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying listen to this doctor. They're for free online. And if then you can make the choice for yourself.
Doing in Scientology, they tell you, is they're waking you up as a spiritual entity because you've been walking around for trilania in this sort of hypnotic daze. You're just going from life to life to life. So your emotions are really a kind of fake veneer that you're laying on top of all of this as to how you get along with other people and stuff like that.
Totally have eaten this stuff up.
Oh yeah, I sure did.
I'm actually a little bit grateful now that Werner, for fine, those people came to me so that it shook me up enough to have me start questioning.
It's so wild. You make him wrong for minute after hour after hour, and then you're like, I'm actually really grateful for it. Okay. What are you doing?
Because I would completely, totally have eaten this up. But, to some extent, I do a fair amount of spiritual study now, but it's more about the integration, right? You're a physical, what is it? You're a physical being having a spiritual.
Anyway, hope you're having the best day ever. Peace.